Wow, look at my spiral. All right, shalom everybody. Daniel from Ancient Biblical Oil. So I thought I'd make a quick video about the idea of spirals and signs and symbols. Reason being is that we started selling these beautiful EMF protecting pendants, and we've had a few questions from some of our friends saying this pendant has a spiral on there, and it almost looks like a yin yang, and it should be something that we should be afraid of or not, right? Now the thing is, the teaching, what it is that we've always stood by, is that signs and symbols in themselves are neither good or evil. You can hardly ever find a symbol that is 100% evil, okay, or 100% good. The only time that a sign can be 100% evil is when the idea being communicated is an idea that is a violation of the Torah, aka sin. Okay, so if you can find such a symbol, which it is, that is a true description of something that violates the Torah, then for sure that symbol is evil. However, most symbols are just giving you a projection or an understanding of a certain idea. So with yin and yang, right? And I'm not saying yin and yang is a holy symbol or anything like that. What I'm saying is that my limited understanding of yin and yang is that it's giving the idea of the dualism of creation, right? Night and day, male and female, black and white, etc., etc. Right? Now that cannot be evil. Why? Because that's straight out of the word, right? The word shows us that our Father has created everything in balance with a left and a right side. Okay. So we've got to stop looking at the world, stop looking at the things that we interact with from the teachings that we've gotten from a Western mindset that has taught us about New Age and all these crazy ideas. We need to start looking at things from a biblical mindset. Right? Like we teach in the Word. Once you become an expert in this, you can spot any fake from 1,000 miles away. So spirals something which it is that are evil. God forbid, they cannot be evil. Why? Because we find them in nature, right? We find them a lot of the time with regards to things which are in motion, where energy is involved. What do I mean? When water is going down a drain, right? We see a spiral. When air pressures change and a storm is brewing, guess what we see? Spirals, right? So we understand that spirals have something to do with the movement of energy. And I believe that Sarah was speaking about this from like 2020 with some of the interesting ideas out there with regards to shedding and all this kind of stuff and EMF. And we have been supplying spirals that people use, or we believe people should use, to protect from certain types of energy. Now the thing is, like we put across in the teaching, the Bible is a Middle Eastern text, right? It is a mystical text, the ultimate mystical text. Paul tells us that in the Word, he saw mysteries, right? This idea of interacting with normal reality and bending normal reality, this is a normal thing within here, right? We call it miracles, time travel, whatever you want to call it. Those things exist within the Word. And for sure, they exist in the dark side as well. When the people in the dark side do it, we call it magic. But we have to agree with ourselves. Making a metal axe float on water is just supernatural, right? And as believers and people who it is that are spiritual, these are the kind of things that we should be able to replicate, right? In fact, the New Testament tells us that at some point in the future, when we have the vessel, when we are worthy to be able to receive the Spirit, we will do greater things than the people did in the first century, right? Now, the thing which I need to get across to everybody who's watching this today, the only thing, what we need to be opening our eyes out and truly watching is sin. What is the definition of sin? Transgression of the Torah, aka the law. Let me repeat that again. The only thing that can separate you from the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and his Messiah is sin, which is transgression of the Torah, aka the law. So you want to be concerned about anything. Let us start to understand what the word says with regards to the Torah. What are God's instructions for life? And make sure we don't transgress those things. If any practice does not violate the Torah, does not violate the law, it is therefore not sin. Right? It may not be profitable, but it's definitely not going to be something that will hurt your salvation. If there's any practice that you're involved in, or ideas or symbols that transgress the law, that's the stuff that's going to cost you your salvation. Okay? And at the same time, let us be open to grow spiritually, and that Abba Father has given us tools to be able to access the spiritual realms in a positive way. Okay, these are our gifts to us. When we look at the temple, we look at clothing, right? The reason why it is that the high priest and all the priests were given particular garments made out of particular materials was because the temple was the highest spiritually energized place on the entire planet. This is the reason why we understand linen to be the ultimate clothing, not just from a health and wellness perspective, from a spiritual perspective. Linen, ultimate clothing. Talking about stones and crystals and stuff like that, right? Believers are afraid of these things. It's craziness. Why? Because the high priest, his whole garment, he's got 12 stones, crystals, right, on his chest, and he's got stones on his shoulders with the names of the children of Am Israel, the sons of Am Israel. The Urim and the Turim, the two stones that are used to communicate with God. When we got certain issues and we don't know what the answer is, we have to take these stones, these crystals, to communicate with God. Right? Almost all modern technology, this phone that I'm making this video on, all the technology that you're using is based on quartz technology, right? Crystals. And the crystal's ability to be able to keep time. What does that even mean? Crystal's ability to keep time. A fascinating a rabbit hole that I am looking forward to go down, and for the King to be able to give me answers to. And so the thing we need to understand is that we've been given tools within what's called creation, and that these tools have physical abilities and spiritual abilities. We need not to be afraid of the tools. What we need to be afraid of is transgression of the Torah, aka sin. Right? So I hope that that's an interesting discussion. And like we said, we're not the custodians of truth. We're on a journey to discover, so we agree we could be wrong. If you think we're wrong, put a message in the comments below, and we always welcome discussion. Right? If you haven't watched the teaching, Unlocking the Secrets to Ancient Biblical Healing, get it. Why? Because in this teaching, we dive into these ideas. Right? For you to watch the teaching, we have it online, and we also do live presentations. See where the live presentations are. Click on our events tab on the Facebook page, and you'll see all the live presentations that are taking place soon in your area. All right. Blessings. We love you all. Shalom.